What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me, but I just got home off of an early morning flight, right? First thing through the door, I want to see my family. I love my family. You know, I'm a family man. I'm an advocate for families, right? Second thing, I got to get that hot shower because I got to throw the threads on. The threads make me feel like $1,000,000, but the third thing through my mind and all throughout the trip is that I gotta have that Tej pack. Tej makes my life uncomplicated. It's uncomplicated skincare for men. The first way that I started specifically was their level 1 system. It's a daily face wash to get rid of the dirt and grime on your skin. 2 times per week exfoliate and scrub to get rid of the dead skin cells. An AM moisturizer with SPF 20 because you should always be protecting your skin from the sun. And a PM moisturizer to help your skin stay hydrated and healthy throughout the night. Here's the thing. My favorite part about Tej Henley is that every box comes with an instruction card that tells you when to use each product, how much to use, and in what order. They really making the process of achieving and maintaining amazing skin for men uncomplicated. In addition to amazing skin, members of Tej Henley get tons of benefits, including at least 20% off the retail price, the ability to customize your box, exclusive monthly deals, you can pause and cancel at any time, and you get free shipping. And because Tej Henley is sponsoring today's video, they're offering my viewers an amazing deal, right? Just click the first link in the description and you get 30% off your first box, plus a free gift. It's an amazing deal. You got to get started today. You're not out here trying to look like a dusty. And if you travel as much as I do, which I'm sure most people don't, but you know me, I'm pushing my bag chasers in order to be in the top 5%, top 10%, top 1%. We got to make our lives uncomplicated, and Tej Henley is no better product. You got to look good. You got to smell good. And you can't be looking like a dusty. Make sure you get started today. Click the link in the description. Get that Tej pack. Feel the Tej, my friends. What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. So I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. We are back for another edition of the Millionaire Morning Show, and so we're going to cook up. We're going to do what we do every single day, and we're going to make sure that we cook up for the people. What's going on, y'all? Yo, I don't think y'all really understand the level of dedication that it takes to be able to bring you this show uninterrupted every single weekday. Don't matter if it's a holiday, don't matter if you're out of town, don't matter if you're traveling internationally, does not matter what it is that's going on in your life. You work in corporate America, running businesses, got kids, all of that stuff, right? I don't think that people really understand the level of dedication that it takes to open up and run a business, which kind of feeds into the theme of what it is that we're talking about today. And we're going to get into that a little bit later in the show. I want to go over some thoughts that was shared by the great Jordan Peterson, which I recommend everybody get his book, 12 Rules for Life. I want to go over our net worth, right? Because we're going to definitely get to the money. And, you know, on Wednesdays, on hump day, we got to get to the money. So I want to break down exactly what it takes to be in poverty, to be in the middle class, to be upper class, and then to be wealthy. So I'm going to go into that. I want to move over to D.C. because we got a food desert that's coming over there. And then we're going to bring some politicians to the front of the congregation also. But before I do that, before I get into it, let me shout out to everybody that's tapping in with me this morning. I appreciate you guys. Hopefully the stream is going well. And the Wi-Fi is working good, so I tried to test everything. I am going to be live streaming tonight on the Anton Daniels channel, and that's going to be epic, and it's going to be phenomenal, and we got a lot going on. So let me get some insight and information about you guys. I want to know, how do you feel this morning? You know what we do on Wednesdays. I got to get a temperature check of the people to better understand exactly how you guys feel so that I can then pour into you and then be able to add value into your life. Let me know in the chat. I want to know in the chat. Everybody in the chat, help me to understand exactly where you at, how you feel, and what your sentiment is. Shout out to all of my people that's live streaming on YouTube. Shout out to my people on Facebook. Let me know in the chat exactly how you feel and what your sentiment is. One word. Some people are saying bossing, focused. Um, Haters coming at me must mean I'm doing something right. That's correct. Uh, it is midnight. Well, no, it is midnight here. That is correct. It's midnight here. Somebody said it's their birthday. Happy birthday to Juan R. I appreciate you. 11 a.m. in Detroit. In Detroit said it's nice weather. Motivated, energetic, excited, rested. That's a blessing. If you able to get some sleep and get some rest, that's impressive. Quitting. No. Quitting what? Hopefully you quitting for a better opportunity. Shout out to Trendy Lock. She always in here with me. Tired. Listen, I don't want to hear nobody talking about they tired. And I'm going to get into that in the show. I don't want nobody talking about they feeling tired. You have no room to be tired. You have no opportunity to be tired. To be tired is a luxury. To be tired is a luxury. Focus, focus, focus. Seem like that's the word of the day. Amazing. Doing well, blessed, getting to the bag right now. Motivated, resilient. Um, Let me see. Quitting your job, Trendy Locks. Okay, I guess that's a good thing. Whenever you got the option of quitting, you're not getting laid off. That's a phenomenal thing. Lil Black Duck says, morning to you and the fam, bro. Here's a couple of bucks to get some to Koyaki in Tokyo. Shout out to my people. If you have not realized it, I am over here in Tokyo and I am understanding the culture and doing everything. And I'm going to give you guys an update shortly. Some people say redeemed. I sleep 3 to 4 hours a day. You do need to figure out how to sleep more time. Anton, what do you think about the anti-work on Reddit? I am not sure about the anti-work on Reddit. I am not familiar with it. I've been traveling to Buddhist temples and going to Disneyland and going to Sensoji and all of this other type of stuff. But I'm going to break that down in a minute. Some people say upbeat, getting to the money, 3 jobs, inspired, cleared. I guess cleared is a good thing. Good morning to all of my people pushing, blessed, and patient. Y'all in Tokyo for vacation or travel. I'm in Tokyo I'm always on a business trip. If you see me on a plane, then you know this for business. We just so happen to have fun in the meantime, in the middle of it, but I'm always here for business. Come on, Bella, you know me. Impatient, blessed, looking for new opportunities. Interesting. All right, so we on a hump day, and I'm gonna be reading super chats throughout the show. You know how I do it, and then make sure you guys hit a like for the YouTube algorithm. That goes without saying. I don't even feel as though I should be able to have to say that anymore. Make sure you hit a like for the YouTube algorithm. You know what I'm saying? So that goes without saying. I don't want to have to play the Teach commercial again. If I wind up playing a Teach commercial again, good morning, Randy, then that means that you guys didn't hit a like for the YouTube algorithm. Blessed Class E Beats says, thank you for doing this show every day, AD. Not only are you giving amazing value, but you also inspiring me to keep pushing and take it one day at a time. We up. Shout out to my dog, Class E Beats. Shout out to Class E Beats that's running that bag up. So yeah, we gonna do what we do. Shout out to everybody coming through. I appreciate you. Shout out to Mike that dude. Let me also give a shout out to a few more people, because I know you guys hit me off with some cash apps and I don't ask for it, but I appreciate it. So I have to acknowledge you guys. Shout out to Going Postal. I appreciate you, Mike that dude. Let me get these individuals. That's Going Postal for the 5 ball. Mike that dude for the 10 ball. Tommy Jean. Shout out to Tommy Jean in the building. I appreciate you, Tommy Jean. Said for this is my favorite channel and you explain everything. Dante. Shout out to Dante with the 5 ball. I appreciate you, Dante. Fantasia says for love from Nashville. I appreciate you, Fantasia. Thank you, my love. You got to get the triangle. And everybody that continues to hold me down, I appreciate you guys. Let's continue to run the show up. We got to take care of business. We going up. We had 182 likes and rising. All right, so y'all working on it. Y'all working on it. And as you come in, go ahead and hit the like for the YouTube algorithm. And then make sure that you share this with your family and friends. Let me give you guys an update on what it is that I've been experiencing here in Tokyo. And it's in stark contrast to what it is that I'm seeing happening within the United States. And that's unfortunate. It's in stark contrast to what it is that I see happening in the United States. Yesterday, I had some opportunities to do some awesome stuff, to travel and see some places, and I make it a priority to make sure I do something different every single day. I mean, you're going to see me in the streets. We're going to be doing some new experience, eating some different food that I've never ate before, experiencing some culture, talking to different people. Um, and it's awesome. It's absolutely awesome. So we're going to work backwards, right? One of the first things that I had an opportunity to do was to go to the Sensoji Temple. The Sensoji Temple. And then outside of the temple, there was an entire marketplace. It was a lot of people walking around. Apparently, this is one of the largest and oldest Buddhist temples in Tokyo. And so I had an opportunity to go over there, and this is exactly where it is that we walked into. I did not record inside of the temple because they asked for no pictures and no recording. And so I like to respect other people's culture. This is the walkway slash marketplace outside of the Sensoji temple in Tokyo, and it was a ton of people. So this was in the back half of my day in which we went out there and we experienced it. We did some shopping. We uh, observed how people pray and what they do. We also got some fortune stuff, so that was definitely different. And then after or before that, earlier in the day, we had the opportunity to go to Disney. Now, I'm not a fan of Disney at all, okay? Let's be clear. I'm not a fan of Disney. Does not float my boat. I think that the company has been off path. I am not an investor in Disney. I think that they're fumbling the bag. They are the owners of ESPN. But uh, I am not the only person on this trip. And so, in order for me to make sure that everybody gets the experiences that they want, then we had the opportunity to go in and observe. Now, one thing that I found out while I was there, because all of this is covered when you walk into the entrance of Disney, one thing that I found out while I was there was that it was the 40th anniversary of Disney being in Japan. Yes, it was. It was the 40th anniversary of Disney being in Japan. Um, I was literally, or we were literally the only, and when I say only, based off of what I saw, because I was there for some hours now before we went over to the Sensoji Temple, and I was walking. So, my counter for the calories and stuff, it'd be sky high. My daughter forced me to get on this. I'll be uploading the clips onto Instagram, and I instantly had a headache because she had me twirling and turning. So the highlight of my trip was to be in the teacups. Let me say that again. The highlight of my Disney experience was getting in the teacups with my daughter and her taking joy in giving me a headache. All right. In addition to that, obviously, I went into the Snow White Castle, which is one of the crown jewels right in the middle of the park. And one thing that I've learned about Disney as I jumped on this railroad, this train, and I had the opportunity to take in my thoughts and kind of write down my notes mentally, like a rapper do when he's spitting 16 bars inside of the booth. One thing that I was able to take in was that even Disney is different there in Tokyo, Japan, than it is over in Orlando, Florida. I haven't been in the one in California, but the one in Orlando, Florida, it is completely different, right? The rides are different. The characters that they like is different. They value, I'm going to be reading that super chat shortly. Shout out to Ash. They value Winnie the Pooh and Snow White more than they value um, whatever the characters are that's meaningful to the people here. They value the cartoon characters, the animes, the Winnie the Poohs, the more soft people, to be honest with you, right? I mean, you was hard pressed to go in there and find a shirt with Buzz Lightyear in the Toy Story and the sassiness over there, right? They did have a Star Tour, but they did not have a huge Star Wars exhibit. They was not heavy into Marvel as some people may believe. And let me also say this, it was significantly cheaper. And this is me recording and observing uh, the band coming over there and playing, and they would walk through and they would speak to people and they were incredibly polite. The thing about Japanese culture even when it comes to Disney, because all of these companies evolve and they change and they have a different experience for when it is that you go into their country versus what it is that you experience in this country. And the only other car, right? Because in addition to, all of the different cars and stuff that I've seen, all of them was primarily European and Japanese and stuff like that. The only American car that I seen there was a Tesla. Outside of my hotel, they had the Rolls Royces, they had the Lamborghinis, they had, the McLarens. All of the exotic cars is there. All right. But as far as their culture specifically, smaller cars, more polite, they have more of a service industry. And as technologically advanced as Tokyo is, because Tokyo in Japan is technologically advanced, they're more of a service industry, a service people. They have an overabundance of workers that are out greeting you, paying attention to you. Women are usually the face of whatever it is that they have going on, and they're at the forefront as far as greeting you and advertising and pushing and making sure that they bow to you. And every time I walk into my hotel, because you got to first go up to the 45th floor and then go over, and then you go up to your room, which is on the 51st or 54th floor. They have somebody walking you down, and the woman is always bowing to you. It's just a different culture, honestly. Women bow to you on a regular basis. When I'm walking out of my hotel, and it doesn't matter whether I'm going to be whether I'm in the Ritz or if I was down at the a regular Western Marriott or something like that, they are bowing. They are serving your every need. They, trying to figure out if they can get you something. Yo, every time I walk into my room, they make sure that they. Let me tell you something. Here's the thing. Let me pause this for a minute. Let me come back. When I come into my room, right? Because I got a really big room, and obviously I don't want to display, my wife and my daughter over there or whatever like that. They make sure that they write me these handwritten notes to give me instructions, right? Here, let me spin this around. Let me give you an example. Dear Mr. Daniels, please use this card and bond. Have a nice day. They come in and they observe the different things that I got. So, for example, they know that I have a setup in here in which, I got different chords and stuff because I'm over here recording and I'm taking care of work and doing business and stuff. And so they just naturally just bring in a woman, tends to my every need. Well, several women, they tend to my every need, and then they bring these in here in order for me to wrap my cords up more effectively. I didn't ask for it. I didn't say that I needed it. They just literally brought these in here, dropped it, wrote a note when I was gone, and then said, hey, make sure if you need these in order to wrap your cords up, this will be more effective in order to make sure that you can make things neater in here. They just observe. They try to figure out what your need is. They bring you more water if you used to ordering water. If you order something or you order room service, they make sure that they come in straight up. I'm gonna be real with you. When I walk into my hotel room, and this is the level of service, it's not something that you got to ask for. It's not that the customer is always right. And every single time it's a woman, and they come in, and let me break it down to you. I get this. I ate one of them because it was good. They just bring you in the different stuff and they say, hey, if you want to try out these different desserts, here, check out these different desserts. And they don't bring in napkins. They bring in wet towels. They come in and they knock and they take care of you. And then even the women that are on the street, when you walking in, they stop and then they bow to you and all of this other type of stuff. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to lie to you. When I hear women from American culture sit and tell me, whether it be on these panels on the internet or when I have to go out and I observe how you women are treating different guys in the streets in America, because it's a Western culture thing. I'm going to shoot you women some bail a little bit. It's not just a black woman thing. It is a white woman thing. It is a black woman thing. It is a Lebanese woman thing. It's a Western culture thing. When I hear women say stuff like, I'm not giving respect to a man until he earns it, or you got to be at this level in order for us to respect you as a man. I'm going to be reading that super chat shortly. Thank you, Fi Brown. It's mind blowing to see the level of respect and treatment that they give you just because you walking around as a human. It ain't even just because I'm spending a bunch of money at the hotel. It's when I'm out in the street in general. Women are incredibly, and I mean, listen, you talking about Japanese culture. These are not women that are under duress, which completely dispels the myth that is because they don't have anything or anything like that. It's a lot of women executives. It's a lot of women that's empowered here. It's a movement where women are making decent money and they are very much modern when it comes to their ability to be able to make money. But they don't remove their femininity or start to emasculate the men that they deal with on a regular basis in order for them to be able to be in that position. Why is it so different here? In which women and the culture here is they're going to treat you phenomenal. They're going to bow to you. They always smile. I have not seen a woman that is in a position or in a job, whether she's at the front desk or whether she's opening up the door or whatever. They are not advocating to try to do the men's jobs. I have not seen even one woman cab driver, and I've been taking cabs the entire time. Every single place that I've went to, I have not got on a train. I have not done public transportation. We walk and we have taken cabs. Every single woman, they are not trying to do what men do. And they are living in their femininity and they are very much, very much respectful. And they extend gratitude and they bow to you and they show you a level of respect in general. And they do it to everybody. Here's my question. Why is it so difficult for Western women to do so? But when I come over here in Asian culture, it's a completely different experience. I mean, it's like night and day. It's genuinely like night and day. When I walk out of the elevator, or when I'm walking over to the elevator from my room, or when I'm walking over from breakfast or something like that, and I get in the elevator to come into my room, they are walking behind me. They will hurry up and beat me to the elevator, hit the button, and then bow to me as the doors is closing. Like, I hope you having a great time. I love you. You are absolutely awesome. Shit is blowing my mind. Blowing my mind. They automatically try to, I mean, they treat you like all of them are your wife in every sense. They are running to the elevator to beat me there. I didn't say I was going over to the elevator. I'm literally just coming out because you got to come out to go to the upper floors to come back down and come all the way down to the lobby, right? And they're racing to beat me to the elevator in order to make sure that they hit the button and then bow to me. Oh my God, you so good. They are automatically extending a level of respect just because you are a human being, let alone a man. If you are a man, you are a god. If you are a man, you are a god. When I'm walking out of my lobby, I see the woman, she already calling, oh, he might need a cab. We're used to him getting a cab. They already, Mr. Daniels, they learn your name. It's crazy. And I mean, it's funny because I'm having this conversation with y'all, but it's unfortunate that this is something that is crazy and this is not a cultural norm. Now, when I get home, right, and I'm not talking about my household, but I'm talking about the culture. Oh my God. You can't order nothing without somebody getting a bad attitude. Who the fuck you talking to? Neck snatching, wig, snatching your dreams, neck extended. Who the fuck you talking to? You better not ask me shit. Motherfucker, I call my brother on you. Pull up, pull up. You can't tell if you talking to a gangster crip that's in the streets, blood, nigga, what's up? Or if I'm talking to an actual biological woman. That's why niggas is starting to trying to figure out if you a woman, if you a trans woman, or are you a biological woman? By default, niggas is trying to use their context clues in order to understand whether you are a biological woman or are you a trans woman. A man dressed as a woman because we can no longer tell the difference in Western culture. We can't tell if you a nigga or are you a biological woman because it's all starting to intersect with each other, and women are so fucking masculine and they have no respect for men in general that we can't tell the difference just based off of your attitude. The cultural differences are vast. Are vast. It's insane. Voice is high, absolutely awesome, tiptoeing around you, trying to anticipate what your needs are. I said, am I married to all of y'all? What the They anticipating what your needs are before you do it based off of what them observing your habits to be. That's crazy. That's crazy. I walked into the bakery yesterday in order to get my little Danish thing or whatever like that, and she had already, just because she recognized me from the day before. When we sit here and talk about, and oh man, I got a breakdown for y'all tonight. I've been observing and paying attention to what is going on and comparing and contrasting. And on the Anton Daniels live stream tonight for y'all, this morning for me, it's going to be an epic live stream. I promise you this because I am going to give you everything that I know and everything that I have with regard to what it is that I'm observing. This is just the tip of the iceberg. You know, I have a different type of show on that channel than I have on the Millionaire Morning channel. So make sure y'all hit a like for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications because we got work to do. And you know me, I'm an equal accountability partner. I do not discriminate. Everybody gonna get that work. All right. Let me read some of these super chats and then we're gonna really deep dive into the show. Let me read the super chats and then we're gonna deep dive into the show. Ash, shout out to my dog Ash. Let me give him a round of applause. AD, did you notice any alphabet or woke ideology at the Tokyo, Japan Disney, or was it more catered to their culture? It was catered to their culture. I didn't observe any ideology at the Disney. I seen none of it. I don't see one flag here. Not one pride flag on a business. I'm sure that there are people, because there are people in every single culture all over the world that is, swing on the other side. Everybody sins. Everybody do whatever it is that they do, right? But I'm trying to tell you, it's not on display. They're not wearing it as a badge. They're not weaponizing it against people. They're not throwing it in your face. I mean, I'm sure that they there, but I have not seen one flag, one piece of sass, not one thing, Ash. Absolutely not. I have not seen it. Not once. Not once. Fa Brown with the 10 ball. I appreciate you, family. Said, yo, big dog, glad you're enjoying the vacay. Did you get a chance to check out that Whitlock clip I sent on Michael or her? Also, did you pack the Yoda hat by any chance? If so, need that before the end of the week. I did not pack the hat. When I travel, and thank you, Fi Brown, I appreciate you, big dog. I travel very, very light. Very light. I do not take a lot of stuff with me. One suitcase, one backpack with my laptop and stuff in it, and then I travel very, very light. So that's why you see me with this hoodie on. I use this hoodie in order to be doing my live streams. I wear t-shirts. I don't pack heavy. I pack very light. I did not pack more than one. Randy, what's up, Randy? What's up, baby girl? Good morning, Anton. I would highly suggest watching the Unsolved Mysteries Tsunami Spirits episode, Safe Travels. Thank you, my love. And how are you doing, Randy? I'm going to have to talk to you. I need to understand where you at, what you're doing, what your mindset is. I want to know what my bag chasers is feeling and doing. Thank you, love. Cliff Williams is in the building. Shout out to my dog. Cliff says, discipline, bro. It makes everything awesome. Shout out to my dog, Cliff, in the building. Hyman Bjorn says, while black and 6'2" at Tokyo Disney, I became the main attraction by default. Well, then embrace your fame. Embrace your fame. Chad the Great says, this is why a lot of black men are leaving America, but people call them lame, can't get women. They get treated like humans. America is not the world. We get treated like gods. We get treated guys all day long. Batman 4000 plus 11 says, I don't know how I would feel with that if that much respect was given. No wonder they killing in business. We don't even know what respect looks like in America because we so busy trying to battle with our chicks instead of holding them down. Shout out to my daughter. AB, what you are experiencing is what a lot of black men never experienced, like Europe and Asia. This is why I tell every successful black man to travel to experience real feminine women. It can change a life. This is why I'm never embarrassed of my snow bunny. My home is peaceful. Can we give another round of applause? Ash always holding me down. Thank you. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you for holding me down, and you are absolutely right. Mansa with the two ball says, why don't you stay over there then, big dog? Because I have a 15-year-old daughter and I have a lot of businesses over in America. And I would like to pour into the culture instead of walk away from the culture as much as I can because I got some people that I need to take care of and I got some young people that work for me. And so I have a lot of things that I want to change and impact, hopefully, a little bit in Detroit. So I'm still an American by heart, but it doesn't mean that I can't adopt or take what it is that I learned from other cultures that I see as good. So no, I will not be permanently moving over here, but I have a long-term vision after my daughter get of age to be able to live, work, and play all over the world without necessarily being relegated to staying in America. So that is coming. Saint Cyr says, if you can go to Kyle's Bakery while in Tokyo, it's a black-owned bakery that has been operating in Tokyo for 30 plus years. I did not know that. Um, I will check it out. Kyle's Bakery. I might have to go and check that out. Interesting. Also, Kyle's Goods Finds is the name of the bakery. All right. Thank you for the insight and information. I'll go and check that out. Marcus says, been to 10 countries. Black women are the best. I don't know what IMO is. I'm sorry. But thank you for the two ball. I appreciate you. Gangsta Love is in the building. Said, should passport bros go to Japan? Nah, stay y'all ass out of Japan. The only people that should be coming to Japan is people that are looking to actually embrace and respect the culture. Don't come over here and don't go nowhere in the world. Don't even go to your own neighborhood supermarket in your own city or to the suburbs looking to bring a lot of that chaotic behavior because black culture is still trash in a lot of ways. Black men and black women that are respectful, that operate with a level of dignity and class, should be ones that embrace traveling over to Japan. But come over here with that bullshit, and they will absolutely put that shit to rest. In the same way that you respect Dubai and all of that stuff, you come over here with that nonsense, they're not playing that game. So I think that people, not passport bros, but people with passports that know how to operate with a level of respect should come over and experience what Tokyo, Japan has to offer because it is a great culture. And more importantly, again, and I say this all the time, don't travel for pussy. Travel so that you can experience a different cultural norm and that you can learn something that you're not familiar with, and then understand that the women and the success and the money and the great networking, it all goes with it. All right. So let me read one more thing. My dog J Ben says Koku on Friday and Saturday evenings for car spotting. Y'all, I have no idea what that is, but I appreciate you, J Ben, and I'm gonna have to look that up and write that down. You know what I'm saying? Let me continue over with the show. Make sure y'all hit a like for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications, and I'm thankful for you guys for supporting the platform. Again, I do not ask for super chats, but I absolutely appreciate it. So thank you guys for continuing to support the platform. Let's move over. Let's move on. All right. So conversely, and you know, we got to go over Jordan Peterson. We got to go over the money, the net worth. We need to go over what's happening in DC, and we definitely need to bring a woman mayor over in San Francisco to the front of the congregation. But before we get into that, let's talk about DC, right? There's a store over in DC, and it's a huge supermarket, but what they're basically saying is that not only in San Francisco, not only in California, not only in Oakland, not only in Sacramento, not only in Portland, not only in Seattle, not only on the West Coast, But cities here, not only in Chicago, where Walmart said, fuck y'all, Chicago, I'm leaving and I don't owe y'all nothing. In DC, in the capital, the state's in DC, they are experiencing the same thing that they are experiencing over in California. So bad that the popular giant food grocery store reported over $500,000. Let me say that again. $500,000 in a recent product loss due to shoplifting, which equates to roughly 20% of the sales after the theft. Over $500,000 in losses due to store theft. And what do you know? It just so happened to be in an urban community. Make sure y'all hit a like for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's get into it, y'all.
The wide-reaching impact of crime. Ward 8 Councilmember Trayon White today said if rampant shoplifting continues, the Giant on Alabama Avenue in Southeast may be forced to close its doors. News 4's Mauricio Casillas looks into what this would mean for food insecurity in the district and what's being done to keep that store open.
We're going to work with John to keep this open.
A call to action to save an oasis of sorts in what is otherwise a food desert in Southeast DC.
Taken from this store is really taken from yourself.
Councilmember.
This is a council member, right? His name, I believe, is Trayon. I'm sorry. We'll learn more about him shortly. But this is a council member that had to hold a press conference and a rally in the parking lot of the grocery store in order to advocate for people not to steal, because ultimately all they're doing is continuing to create a food desert that they whined about having before these stores came into their communities and started to build. You know, I heard that, what's her name? The actor girl. The one that Aries Spears had got in trouble. What's her name? The black girl, kind of ghetto. What's her name? Anyways, I don't remember her name. If you know what her name is, put the name in the chat. I heard that it was a woman actor, a black female actor, that was saying that she was going back into her neighborhood and looking to raise over $1.5 million in order to start a grocery store because there was a food desert in that neighborhood. And that the people had to travel so far in order for them to even be able to get groceries, or they had to get price gouged from the local liquor stores for even getting basic food, because they were deprived and depressed based off of the fact that nobody wanted to. Tiffany Haddish, that's her name. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the chat, Tiffany Haddish. Tiffany Haddish said that she wanted to make a very, very bad investment and going in and investing in her community, while at the same time Walmart is running from Chicago. We gonna get into San Francisco shortly, so on and so forth, right? But these food giants are basically saying, yo, people are walking in and they're taking over $500,000 worth of stuff, which equates to all of our profits. And if people don't know, grocery stores operate on a very, very thin margin, similar to restaurants. So they have to be able to, in order to keep prices low, in order to add value into people's lives, they have to have the cooperation from the community that actually values the fact that they're a business in that community that didn't have to be there in the first place. And this giant grocery store is like, yo, I don't even know if we still want to be here. And so now they're having a rally in the parking lot trying to get the grocery store not to leave. But the fundamentals of business is that if it's not profitable, I might have to walk away.
Trayon White says he's met with management and Giant who tell him they lost hundreds of thousands of dollars due to shoplifting in this store alone.
We know it's tough times, and we know the price of food has skyrocketed in the last 3 years. That's right, yeah. But we cannot afford to hurt ourselves by constantly taking from the store, because that means that everybody is going to be without a place to eat, and enough is enough.
News 4 reached out to Giant, which says it does not currently have plans to close the store, but, quote, The reality is that theft and violence at this store is significant and getting worse, not better. As a result, it is becoming increasingly more difficult to operate under these conditions. We've invested in a host of measures to mitigate the issue at this store and across many stores, but we also need the help and partnership from the community and local officials to truly combat the theft and violence that continues to escalate.
Now, this is not in California. This is in D.C. This happens all across the United States of America. This is not an issue that is only based off of one state. Now, it's happening all across the state in California. But let me ask y'all a question. When you have the same thing happening in different communities that have never intersected or never met each other, but they doing the same thing: theft, robbery, killings, muggings, rapes, disrespect, going against the police, don't call the police against the people that's doing the worst things in their community, continuing to complain, asking for reparations. If you have the same result all across the board, is it systemic or is it a cultural problem that we're not addressing here? Is there something else going on here that we're embracing that's toxic for us, in which we're asking for somebody else to come in and solve a problem and to continue to be subjected to our cultural norms, but we won't even do the thing that's in our own best interest? We know who's stealing. We know who's killing. We know who's selling drugs. We know who's doing the worst things in the community. They don't even hide themselves anymore. As a matter of fact, you don't even have to be in the hood to know. All you got to do is be following certain people on social media. They're going to tell you that they out here scamming, stealing, pillaging, raping, murdering, doing all of the worst things. They even throw it in the communities. Look. It's so bad out here now that, do y'all realize that when you go out, when you driving in your car, and I know that y'all saying that rap music and all of this other type of stuff and our cultural norms don't matter, and what it is that you follow on social media, you can follow the most ratchet things, you can listen to the most demonic music. Cool. When you driving in your car and you listening to that music, do you know that they're literally programming you in order to really accept something that is not normal in other communities to be your cultural norm? Do you know that when you go to the bar and you got that shit playing in the background, or when y'all hoes go out to brunch and every fucking woman in there is 100 million pounds and they all going, hey, 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 you know I won't go to that shit. You know I will not go to any brunch invite with a chick, because I understand that depending on where that brunch is, them bitches is going to be in there like, hey, hey. They're going to be standing on the fucking furniture and twerking. And if you say, no, don't do that, then you're going to go viral and they're going to disrespect you. Do you know that when you go into these clubs, now Anton do not go into clubs, but when you listen to fucking demonic music and all they doing is playing shit that talk about how it is that they destroy their communities, how they about to go rob and pull up on the op, fuck the ops, I don't give a fuck about my own people, and then I'm a fly back, smoke some trees, and then fuck on your bitch. If every fucking song that you listening to inside of the club, in brunch, in your car, you wake up on that shit, you go to sleep on that shit, which is one of the reasons why I try to do the Millionaire Morning Show in the morning, so that I get your day started off right, so that you'll start to rethink what it is that you taking in on a regular basis. I can get your day started off right instead of fucking having you reprogramming yourself day in, day out, 365 days a year. All you do, your whole playlist, when you work out, when you go to the club, when you go to the gym, when you go and pick up a chick, when y'all get in the car with a chick. It used to be that you can get in the car with a chick, right? And then you would switch it up a little bit. Now you motherfuckers is gangster music. When you pick up a chick, you ain't even trying to get her wet. You just out here just thugging it the whole time. So you are who you attract. And you program yourself all day long, and you sipping on your drink, and all you hear is the motherfucking ops and fuck these niggas and Black Lives Matters and all of this other type of stuff. What the fuck you think you gonna do? Your kids is in the back in the baby seat being programmed to it, right? And you say, oh, well, the kids shouldn't be affected by it. They don't know. I'm going to tell them differently. Why would they learn? Kids inherently learn a language without you even having to teach them. They automatically adopt it based off of what they see in their cultural norms. So if a kid is able to learn a language, when they come out, they're like, Google, gaga, blah, 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 blah. and they don't even understand what the fuck is going on, but they're able to adapt to their environment and learn a whole fucking language. What do you think is happening with you programming them back in the baby seat, and all they see and hear is trash, kill, peel, destroy, fuck these niggas, men ain't shit, women is bitches, all of this other type of stuff. And then on top of it, you smoke some trees, you blow that smoke in their face, and they came out with the clap because your mama, they mama was a crack, they made him a crack baby, and they mama had syphilis when they had him. What the fuck you think is gonna happen? What do you think is gonna happen? What you think that these people are gonna come out and they're gonna be normal citizens and they're gonna be respectful and not steal, kill, pillage, and destroy when that's all they've been programmed to do their entire life voluntarily by their mama and their daddy?
End quote. Those who live here say the store is vital to the neighborhood.
This is like the corner store. It's not just a supermarket. If I wanted a soda, I'd have to come to the Giant. A bag of chips, I'd have to come to the Giant. If I want groceries to feed my whole household, I would have to come to the Giant. So the Giant is essential. It's like the anchor for this particular area.
This Giant on Alabama Avenue Southeast is the only full-service grocery store in all of Ward 8. If it were to someday close, the nearest grocery store after that...
This is insane. This is absolutely insane. Watch this. Watch this. Same city councilman having a completely different city council meeting, rally, right after that. Right after that. This is the conversations that he's having, y'all. Same guy.
All right, Tisha, thank you.
Same neighborhood.
A recent surge of violence this past weekend. A D.C. council member now wanting to possibly call in the National Guard.
Same councilman. I'm surprised they ain't called him a sellout yet. I'm going to be reading that super chat shortly. I'm surprised that they haven't called him a sellout yet, because now he's saying, listen, stop fucking stealing, stop killing, stop creating a food desert. Yo, it's so bad. Crime is so horrible. The things that I see on and come across my desk on a daily basis, we need to call in the National Guard. This same young man is saying that we need to call in the National Guard in D.C.
Let's get right out to Fox 5's Stephanie Ramirez, live along Good Hope Road, where an emotional news conference wrapped up today. Stephanie?
And guys, there's a mass shooting just behind us here by 16th Good Hope Road that killed 3 people on Saturday. One of them was a 35-year-old father named Bernard Hodges, who went by BJ. His mother telling us that he worked 3 jobs. One of the most recent.
35-year-old father worked 3 jobs right after the food desert conversation. City councilman will have to go over and do another rally because this guy who's standing by and is apparently a part of the International Union of Operating Engineers, father worked 3 jobs, got killed along with a host of other people just because he's living in a specific community.
Working HVAC at MGM. She says he was just leaving the store here, and this is an area where he would often feed the community. Well, it's that community that officials and community leaders are calling on to help end this gun.
Wait. You mean that a man that works 3 jobs, is an engineer at General Motors, respectable man, father, and he also, like y'all always say, how come we don't, I see somebody in there, why don't we have more men? The solutions, bless them to come out here and talk to the youth. The same motherfucker that's out there feeding the community, working his ass off, being a great father, as an engineer at General Motors, is 35 years old, haven't even reached the peak of his greatness, not even close to it, is fucking gunned down in his own community. In D.C., same thing happens in Chicago, same thing happens in Detroit, same thing that happens all across California. You pick one. Pick one. Don't stop fucking telling me to come back to the hood. Stop telling me to come back to the hood.
Violence, the victim's mother joining Ward 8 council member Trayon White today in their calls for change. And yes, a very important part of that conversation was also the council member wanting the National Guard to possibly help end this violence. Listen to some of the emotion we heard today.
Get your children. That's right. DC has a lot of resources.
Wait. So now we want to change the narrative. Now it's not the teacher's fault. Now it's the motherfucking parents that's riding around with future bumping every day, and they're giving their children no tools in order to be successful. Yo kids is out here gunning down people that's a part of the community that's doing a good thing.
They have a lot of resources, an abundance of resources if you need help with your kids. Because some of you know exactly what your youth are doing.
You know who the killers and the dealers are. It's your little boo-boo. He walk in at all times in the night. He got his purple label on. He smell like trees. His lips is black and purple. That motherfucker got dreads. He ain't got no job. He always in the streets. Keep him a pair of Jordans on. And he got that switch. He got them switches on his Glocks. You know who your children are before we ever encounter them, and then you want to tell me that I need to have preventative and proactive measures of how I deal with this little nigga, and this nigga's a menace to society, and you raised him. You raised him. You groomed him. You know exactly who he is. And you had another one. And you had another one. So you got 3 kids by 3 different baby fathers, and you raise this little monster, and I'm supposed to come back and mentor him or come and be a stepfather? Fuck that little nigga. You better go and get that nigga some metal bracelets and handcuff him and take him into jail.
So we're tired of this. And enough is enough. Excuse my language, but I want to be quite frank to the young men and young ladies. We saying it's not okay for you to load up 30, 40, 50, 120 rounds in a gun and shoot up our community.
Hey guys, after this, the council member told reporters that he has also spoken with the National Guard to find out what they need in a request, which is...
He is personally calling the National Guard and say, hey, we need a military presence in an American city. Think about this for a minute, y'all. Let's really, really take this into consideration. We need these police officers in Tokyo, they don't even fucking have guns. They walk around with batons on. The police officers in Tokyo don't even have guns. They walking around with batons on. I don't even think that they got electrocution device. I don't even think that they got that. They ain't got no mace. They got batons, fam. No guns, no crime, no litter, no nothing. Everybody is chill. Everybody having a good time. Everybody respectful. You're telling me that we are asking for a military presence in an American city, in one of the most prominent American cities. It has gotten that bad. Instead of y'all sitting here protesting and asking for somebody to solve a problem for you, or to say Black Lives Matter, or to have a fucking reparations meeting, you niggas need to really be cleaning up your community. This is horrible, and we all know who the monsters are. Man, look, y'all will be rich. You ain't even got to play the lottery. All you got to do is go ahead and rack up and get a list of all of the people. Let's see, it's little Ray, Man, your son, his homies. You can come up on $150,000 to pay off your student loans. All you got to do is participate with Crime Stoppers. You can come up with 150 bands by just turning in the criminals and cleaning up your communities. You ain't even got to go and ask Biden for student loan forgiveness. All you got to do is call Crime Stoppers. I know I'm asking for too much. I'm not the person that needs to be saying it because I'm out of touch. I got too much money and all of that type of shit. But I'm telling you that the people that live in the communities is trying to get to the National Guards. That should tell you something about the culture. Don't keep telling me about how this ain't our culture, then how come it only happens within our neighborhoods? It's other neighborhoods that don't have resources. They are poor as fuck. They have a lower income rate than us, but they do not have the same problems that we have. They do not have this. They are not running in a Nike store. They are not following you home. They not shooting up men of the community that's feeding the community. At the very least, the leaders of the community was the ones that at least it was respected. The mailman wasn't having to walk around with bulletproof vests on. This is insane. This is out of control. Let me read the super chats real quick. My dog Cliff says most Americans have no respect for other cultures. They don't even respect themselves. Listen, you ain't got to worry about them having respect for other cultures because they don't even respect themselves. That's a fact. All right. Wealth Building Journey says, yep, Giant Food is only experiencing that downtown. Out here in the burbs, shout out to PGC. My Giant Food stays open till 10 o'clock every single night. Shout out to my dog, the wealth building Jeremy. Miss Crow T. Shetty said, facts, the culture is trash now. Thank you, Miss Crow T. Shetty. I appreciate you always checking in. Mike Loves in the building says, great work. I appreciate you, Mike Love. Trey D is in the building says, can anyone say just another liberal city? Shout out to you. Pusha P is in the building says, Anton, I made you a t-shirt designed through my brand. Would love to send you the mock-up. Send it to me then. Send it to me. My address is in the description of the video. Send it to me and I'll get it. I'll check it out and I'll get it popping. Thank you to my man Pusha P. Uncle Pops is in the building says, I did loss prevention for years. I used to whip butts until they changed the standard. Thief sues Belk on her policy and they gave her 75 grand and they fired me. Jesus Christ. Well, shout out to you for doing your job phenomenally. But the minute that we start letting the criminals and the crazy people run an insane asylum, this is what we get. Rob is in the building, says the black culture is about to help walk us straight into martial law. Keep playing around. Hashtag proud lane in the building. Shout out to my dog Rob. Tony in the building. Shout out to my dog Tony. Says, love you, broski. Keep pushing us. I got plenty of good news. Next call. That's my dog. That's my dog. Thanks for holding us accountable. Ask you to consider me on one Monday, still advocating for Lil Anton. Y'all want me to have a little kid? I don't know. I ain't built for it. This world is horrible, Tony. Shout out to my dog Tony with the good news. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat, as well as get the likes up. I appreciate y'all for all of the likes, all of the love and the support. I know it's a criminal in here that hit the dislike button. We got one dislike. So we got a 500 to 1 like to dislike ratio. We must be doing something right. Make sure y'all get a like up for the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Also, make sure you get that Teach Hanley, 30% off your first order plus a free gift. Do not be out here looking dusty. We appreciate Teach for sponsoring the show. Let's move on. So we're going to switch over from DC before we start getting to the money. We're going to switch over from DC all the way over to San Francisco, right? We're going to go from DC to San Francisco. Ooh, we got our second Dusty. Shout out to you. I know you wanted some attention. DC all the way to San Francisco. Now, the thing about San Francisco is this, and I want to illustrate something really quickly to you guys, all right? The thing about San Francisco is this, all right? San Francisco, for all intents and purposes, if we could just be absolutely transparent, is a hellhole. I mean, San Francisco is a piece of shit. Shout out to Aaron. I know Aaron O lives over there, but let me tell you something. I'm going to be absolutely real. I do not mince my words. I am absolutely forthcoming with what it is that I believe and what I feel about these hellhole cities. And San Francisco is right up there at the top. Right up there at the top. San Francisco fucking looks like Kensington Avenue in Philadelphia. Oh, you don't believe me? You don't believe me? Let me show you.
Doubling trend of businesses leaving San Francisco, raising concerns over the city's future. Research shows empty.
And here's the thing. This is a predominantly white city.
Storefronts and abandoned office space are on the rise. KTVU's Brooks Durow live tonight in downtown San Francisco with what can possibly be done here to turn things around. Brooks?
Well, Mike, they say it's going to take some heavy lifting and a multi-pronged approach. First, cleaning up the streets. Next, preventing crime and stopping retail theft. And third, figuring out what to do with all of those empty spaces and reimagining those abandoned storefronts.
It's sad to see, honestly.
Closed, empty, or planning to vacate, downtown San Francisco has put on a new face.
Huge streets, big sidewalks that are never really filled. It's not really that crowded anymore.
Real estate investment research shows office vacancy and available space in the city at 35% and growing.
That means the people that can leave, as soon as they have an opportunity to, as soon as their leases is up, as soon as they can remove their businesses from San Francisco, they are walking the fuck out of there. They are leaving. You can't reimagine it. You can't fix it. You can't do anything. Most major hotel chains or independently owned hotel chains over in San Francisco are literally closing and going out of business. I read reports every single day about what's going on all the way across the country. And the only place that I've heard where hotels are starting to go into default and they're closing is San Francisco. Conferences, they not trying to have any conferences out in San Francisco anymore. Businesses closing the fuck up. People are running for the hills. But it's also something in there that we not having a conversation about, because as we talk about Brandon Johnson, we don't usually highlight the women that are running these cities either. We need to bring them to the front of the congregation. But let's continue.
This week, 2 key Hilton hotels near Union Square dealt a big blow. Investment firm Park Hotels and Resorts announcing it's no longer making mortgage payments, citing business and city challenges.
This is a big wake-up call for San Francisco to realize that they need tourism.
Bob Rausch is a hospitality consultant surprised by the move and says it may be part of a long-term strategy.
So I suspect they know what they're doing, and I suspect that one thing they want to do is refinance the hotel.
Nope, that's not true, sir. That's not true. Listen, sir, that has your white gray hair coming out of your polo shirt. We see all of that. Listen, I'm going to need you to go ahead and get that cut. We need to shave that down. Whenever you don't have a t-shirt on and you have a polo shirt, you got one button down coming down and you got all of that hair coming out like a fro, that's a problem. Don't just groom your face. Don't just get in the shower and bust that down. You need to bust all of this down, sir. And I hate to bring that up because I know that presentation is everything, but you only get one chance to make a first impression. And sir, you with the afro, the gray afro that is coming out of your polo shirt, let me help you to understand something. It is not strategic. It is a liberal hellhole in which they are running the city into the ground and they are enabling the criminals to continue to take over the city because they are more concerned with votes and staying in office than they are about actually doing the thing that's in the best interest of the citizens. Let's continue. All right.
With the lender. Another thing they may want to do is put pressure on the city of San Francisco to clean up its act relative.
Look at that shit. Look at all of that fro coming out. I'm sorry, I'll be getting distracted. I know messy mathematician keep calling me out about it. But when I hear people, I don't hear what they say all the time. I also observe who the person is that's telling me what it is that they're telling me. Now, sir, you have a fro coming out of your polo. I'm going to need you to fix that the next time that you get on here, all right? Somebody tell Bob Rauch from a hospitality consultant, don't you ever fucking get on live stream with no t-shirt on and you all got that fro coming out of your shirt.
And crime.
Otherwise, Rausch says more hotels could follow suit. While business travel is back 85% from 2019, conventions and even leisure travelers are staying away. We only found the occasional shoppers.
Just like Doc Martens boots.
On this block of Market Street, just this shoe shop remains open.
One shop. A Doc Marten shop is the only shop. Listen, it's so bad in California. Let me show you how bad it is. Let me show you how bad it is. And shout out to all of my fellas that's out here wearing froze on their chest. That shit is not cool. It's not kosher. Let me show you how bad it is. This is a man that's going through.
Have you ever heard of at the steps of City Hall? They took that to heart in San Francisco.
Look at that shit. That shit looks like Kensington Avenue. Oh, no. Let me be clear. This is not regular tourists just out here having a good time. This is, in view of City Hall, it looks like people are out there operating on Kensington Avenue. This is a man that went through and he documented, and several people have done so. Remember when y'all used to think that Detroit was, they used to call it ruin porn. They used to think that Detroit was ruin porn. Nah, if you walk downtown Detroit, you go over to Midtown, you go over to Corktown, you start to see what's happening and how it's spreading out. Even if you go over to Livernois on the Fashion Ave and see what's happening and all of the new restaurants and the police and the building up and the protection of the community and shit, it's still some bad parts just like every city. Detroit, downtown Detroit looks 200 times better. You see me walking down there every day. I do vlogs almost every fucking morning down there. Downtown Detroit, it looks better than downtown San Francisco. That's crazy. Listen, downtown Detroit looks better than downtown San Francisco.
We're walking down Market Street in San Francisco. We're going to walk from Civic Center to Powell Street. That's where we're going to turn around at the cable car turnaround. So let's see if any stores remain open. That used to be a hotel.
That is a fucking ghost town. That is a Call of Duty map right there. That used to be a hotel.
And that in the corner used to be a bank. I think it was used to be a Chase Bank. This here's another closure. It's got a for lease sign.
Look at that
right
shit.
Here in the corner. This used to be a Burger King. Closed. Let's see if we can check out the front.
This is your American city. This Tokyo got this shit locked up. This is your American city. Yes, the Detroit Riverwalk was voted the best in the country. Most people are not even familiar with it. The Detroit Riverwalk, in which you can oversee Canada straight from downtown Detroit and then go in and stay at the Renaissance Center, which is the headquarters for General Motors, is the best, voted the best in the country, and people have no fucking clue. Meanwhile, you go over to San Francisco.
Yep. Burger King. Have it your way. Yeah, that in the corner used to be a Chase Bank. And that's the Whole Foods market that recently closed. As you can see, has a
Isn't it funny that Whole Foods closed in San Francisco, but then Whole Foods, and I believe that a brand new Trader Joe's just opened up downtown Detroit. Whole Foods closed in downtown San Francisco, but then Whole Foods opened up a brand new store and a Trader Joe's down in downtown Detroit. Is something wrong here?
Available now retail space sign. There's another sign right up there. It says for lease. It's one of those cases of retail cannibalism. Smart business. That used to be the main entrance for the Whole Foods.
Look at that shit. Look at that. This is insane.
Have you ever heard of at the steps of City Hall? They took that too hard in San Francisco.
Now, we get the point. It's no need in walking through the whole video. It's not necessary. But now that we know what it is that we've seen in order to get a better understanding of what's going on in these communities, right? You got to ask yourself one question. Who's at the forefront of this? Who is the face, not only of the country themselves, of the country itself, but who's the face of San Francisco? Nobody is asking this question. You know what's so funny? We have conversations about Brandon Johnson over in Chicago. We talk about all of these black mayors, these men that are extra liberal, that's selling a fucking dream and is not holding us down. Shout out to Ash. I'm going to be reading that super chat shortly. But whenever it's a completely different narrative or a specific person that stands for one thing in particular, we don't bring them to the front of the congregation. Now, I know that Joe Biden is over there taking a vacation. Joe Biden was recently caught on the beach like this. Hands behind his head, body out, chilling. He got his blue blockers on. He got his aviator glasses on, chilling. Hawaii is burning the fuck up, right? Flaring back up. Islands completely decimated. People out of work. Nobody has the ability to be able to fix their homes. Everything is fucked up over in Hawaii. Cities going to shit. Inflation out of control. People can't afford homes. They throwing a bunch of money over there to Ukraine. China, Russia is teaming up. Fucking everything is just going to shit in the United States of America. Biden is sitting on a fucking beach doing like this. Getting washed the fuck up in the Supreme Court. Student loans about to start back up. Debt just hit $1 trillion with regard to credit cards. Mortgages is out of control. Record repossessions is just through the fucking roof. The whole country is just fucking inflamed. Shout out to P. Rothstein. I'm going to be reading that super chat shortly. Biden is laying up on a beach. Right? We know that Hunter Biden is out here fucking up the bag. They recently swept under the rug that the Secret Service found cocaine inside of the White House. Never happened before in life. Nobody has ever found cocaine inside of the White House, but during the Biden administration, which is largely an extension of the Obama administration, it's just that Biden don't have the charisma that Obama had, right? He's fucking sitting on a beach and he's running for another term, and he's likely going to win because we already know the people that's going to advocate for him to come back in office. But here's the other side of the equation. This is a part of the equation that we don't want to have. So now that we see what's happening over in San Francisco and everything is in flames and all of the businesses is leaving and all of this type of stuff, right? Guess what the most recent press conference that the mayor has had? Literally, I went and searched it out. I did my own research. I had to understand. I said, listen, it's not that just San Francisco is liberal, but who the fuck is at the forefront of what's happening in a lot of these cities? And so I did some research. And you know who I found? Her name is London Breed. Her picture is at the bottom of the screen. This is your mayor. She's a black woman. Her name is London Breed. She is the mayor of San Francisco. And this is the most recent press conference that she held.
Annual Transgender History Month. It is an absolute pleasure to be here with you all and welcome this very special moment here in San Francisco. I have the great honor to be your MC for this occasion. My name is Jupiter Peraza. An occasion that is very personal to me and very close to my heart. For some context as to why that is, back in 2021, I wrote the initial draft proclamation designating August as Transgender History Month. I was inspired by the Compton's cafeteria riots.
Now, let me be absolutely clear. Let me be absolutely clear. Jupiter Peraza, right here, goes by she, her, but all indications saying that that's a biological fucking man. Jupiter Peraza, manager in a statewide coalition at Open House, while San Francisco is fucking burning to the ground. They're having a press conference, and the special speaker and the host of the press conference is Jupiter Peraza, which by all indications is allegedly a biological fucking man. And this is the person that's at the forefront. Let me fast forward it a little bit because I want to get to the thick of it. We're not gonna do the whole thing. I just want to show you what the fuck is going on, okay?
This individual is co-founder of the Transgender District, co-owner of The Stud, and the highest elected black trans woman in the country for any Democratic chapter. Let's give a warm welcome to Party Chair of the San Francisco Democratic Central Committee, Honey Mahogany.
Look, this is what they're doing.
Thank you so much, Jupiter, for that introduction. Isn't Jupiter Peraza incredible? Let's hear it one more time for Jupiter Peraza.
Another one. Another one. While San Francisco is burning to the ground, this is the shit that they're promoting over in City Hall inside of San Francisco. And who's at the forefront of it? Let's figure it out. Because we all know that there was another one that came up there and said it, right? They just introduced and they're having a whole fucking party inside of City Hall. Let's move forward.
I'd like to introduce a deep champion of Transgender History Month. Let's please give a warm welcome to Mayor London Breed.
First of all, I have to take a moment to just really appreciate.
They're going to have the kids up there. They're going to have all the representatives up there. And this is y'all leadership. This is your leadership. This is the mayor, which is one of the biggest champions of what's happening within the community and is really driving the city all. See, nobody is bringing us to the forefront except for me, right? I know that y'all want us to continue to talk about the shit that's popular. We want to talk about Neo and Tyrese, and I know Derek Jackson just did a recent interview. It would have been more popular for me to have a conversation and review the interview with Derek Jackson, and that's not completely off the table. But I had to just deep dive a little bit more because this is an important issue. This is the mayor of San Francisco that is not getting visibility or responsibility laid at her feet. So while we hold Brandon Johnson to the front of the congregation over in Chicago, which he should be held to the front of his feet need to be held to the fire. While we doing all of that shit, why are we just sweeping this shit under the rug while they having a press conference, most recent press conference, about what they feel like is the biggest issue that they need to solve for in San Francisco?
Jupiter's comments and putting things into perspective to truly celebrate Transgender History Month in San Francisco. It is so great to be here with all of you, including our elected leaders, Joel Longardio, a member of the San Francisco Board of Supervisors. You can wave, Joel. He's looking at me. Do I wave? What do I do? The first LGBTQ fire chief in San Francisco's history, Janine Nicholson.
The first LGBTQ fire chief in San Francisco history. This is the shit that we celebrating. Honestly, y'all. Our cities are fucking burning and on fire. Hawaii, a whole state. Maui. People are losing their homes. Nobody can afford to fucking buy groceries. We becoming food deserts. And this is what we talking about.
Our city administrator, Carmen Chu, and our assessor recorder, Joaquin Torres. And let me also honor some amazing trailblazers. I see Miss Billy Cooper in the back.
I can't. I just can't. I can't anymore. It's so rough. When I'm vetting through these different things that you guys are sending me every day and I'm trying to figure out what it is that I'm going to talk about, and I see our country just going to shit. And then I'm able to be over here in Tokyo and I'm able to travel the world because I'm blessed. And I'm able to see something completely different. It breaks my heart. Because I really do love my country. I really love America. I love my cities. I love people. I want the best for people. But God damn it. Jesus Christ. What the hell is happening out here, y'all? I'm going to read some super chats and then we gonna continue on with the show because we got to get over into the solutions and we got to get over to the money. That's one thing that I want to talk about. I do not leave that up to chance. I have to make sure that I add value into your life. All right? Shout out to my dog Ash in the building. AD, like I said yesterday, Chicago left me. I did not leave Chicago. Like you to Detroit, Chicago has my heart, but I'm not going to lose my life in Chirac. I understand, bro. You ain't got to explain nothing to me. But I survived years in Iraq and Afghanistan, and I love rural Texas. Shout out to my dog Ash. I appreciate you, big dog. Thank you for the super chat. P. Rothstein 216 says, I live in Cleveland, but I work in Detroit the last 3 days of the week. Downtown Detroit is amazing. And it's absolutely beautiful. The Riverwalk by the Port Authority is fabulous. See, they don't want you to know that. They don't want you to know that the people that's really holding up the city and the people that's doing the work and the new construction and the building and the advocating and the cleaning up of the crime and the work on all of the stuff that's being done, that shit looks way better than most of these cities that they trying to say is great. He said, I live in Cleveland, but I work in Detroit at least 3 days a week. Downtown Detroit is amazing and it's absolutely beautiful. The Riverwalk by the Port Authority is fabulous. Let me read that again. Shout out to my dog. I appreciate you, P. Rothstein, for bringing that to the front of the congregation. Laverne Gibbs says, the people who talking about defunding police needs to shut the hell up. I support the police here in Texas. Keep up the good work, Anton. Thank you, my friend, and I appreciate you for the 10 ball. Spaces is in the building. Spaces says they got the pronouns by his, her name. Shout out to Spaces. David Sharp says, the way the serpent won in the garden was to manipulate the woman, to destroy the man, to wage war against the Most High. Is the woman the devil? I can't believe that. I don't want to believe it. Smiling Buddha says the Bay is lost. Mi amigo, can you say Beirut? Beirut is in the building. Shout out to the Beirut. Also says, I'm from the Bay and I will never go back. Shout out to Smiling Buddha. I appreciate you. Thank you to everybody that's continuing to support the platform. Let's talk about solutions, y'all. Let's go into the solutions aspect of the show. I want to read one more super chat. The Detroit Black Movie Company's putting in the work. Shout out to my people out here in Detroit and all of the people that I love to go home to. I love my city. I love my office. I love where it is that I live. Build, play, work, pay taxes, the whole 9 yards. I'm happy to do so. Shout out to y'all. Let me see. Let me go through this. The irony of a clown is supposed to be an African American man complaining about the city celebrating diversity. Look at this dumbass. Look at this dumbass. It's always one with no avatar. No fucking avatar. We're not worried about it. We're not going to get distracted. We're going to continue to do the work. And you had to subscribe to say that comment, so I know that you jocking. I know that you jocking. I know that you on my nuts. I get it. Shout out to Clark Kimber. It's always some bitch ass dude that want to get sassy inside of the comments, that has no pull-up smoke, will not jump up on the panel, will not come up here on Fridays, will not show up on Wednesdays, don't have no avatar, scared that they're going to get fired from their job, and is probably being controlled in your household by your mama, that do not let your girlfriend come over because your carpet is dirty, you have not cleaned your room, and you are 29 years old. This next story is for you. I put this together for you because God said that you was going to be in my chat today, Clark. God said that you was going to be in my chat today, Clark. So I put this together for you, this next story. All right? We're going to talk about Jordan Peterson. He's talking about lazy young people. Now, Clark, I know that you fit the narrative. I know that you are one of these people. And so we are going to give you a solution. We're not going to chastise you. We're going to give you a solution for how you can fix getting out of your mother's basement, not being subjected to what it is that you see happening in society, and that you can wake the fuck up. All right? Okay? Jordan Peterson talks about lazy young people and how we solution for them before we get into the conversation about net worth. Make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Also, make sure you get that Teach Henley, 30% off your first order plus a free gift. We love you. We appreciate you. I'm going to get you out of your mama's motherfucking basement. Let's get to it, ladies and gentlemen.
You're going to love this. I recently sat down with world-renowned psychologist and author Dr. Jordan Peterson. We talked about a number of things, including education versus indoctrination and his mission to fight the far-left woke agenda in schools, maybe your school, as well as why Gen Zs can't cut it in the workforce. Not all of you, but some of you, and how we can help them. You got a new study showing new 20...
Generation Z's soft skills struggle. Make change at a register. Working with others. Making eye contact. I see y'all all the time. It's funny because when I walk around and I see you motherfuckers that be in the chat, but y'all be living in your mama's basement, but you see me in real life and then you neglect to even say anything to me because you scared that you gonna be shaking like this when you see me, right? You motherfuckers make no eye contact. How come y'all don't know how to talk to somebody and make eye contact? Why y'all always talking like this? And then you get on the internet and be talking shit. Don't take initiative. Can't stay off your phone. Dealing with frustration. Most of it is sexual. Jordan Peterson has a solution for you.
2023 hires are unprepared for work. They're unprepared for life. Dr. Peterson's take on all of this, especially for parents, is fascinating. Watch. When this study popped up, we thought, you got to weigh in on this. They say that Gen Zers come in, they're sincere, but if they have no necessary instinct on what to do next, find them a lot sitting idly by waiting for instructions on what to do next. Does that make sense to you? Something about this generation that would have trouble being self-motivated?
Well, I think that if you set up an education system that's designed to do nothing but demoralize young people and to convince them that their ambition is dangerous and, well, even world-threatening for that matter, a manifestation of patriarchal oppression on the social front, and then a danger to the survival of the planet on the natural front, then, and you don't do anything to foster that ambition and to channel it into a manner that might be productive and to tell young people why their ambition might be useful, then you're going to get exactly that. So you hit what you aim at if you try hard enough, and the education system has been trying to demoralize people for 60 years.
And part of it is based off of the fact that we now have leaders that wear dresses, is feminine. They wear dresses on both fronts. It's biological women that's wearing dresses. And then the other leaders are people like Clark in the chat that wear dresses and they men. 47 years old was the ones that taught us happy wife, happy life. And are demoralizing our children because they're giving them no real substance as to how it is that they need to become real men and feminine women within our society. Let's continue.
One of the things that really stuns me, I haven't been able to figure this out yet. I've been trying to talk to Republican governors about this. I cannot understand why conservatives have been daft enough to allow the faculties of education to retain their hammerlock on teacher certification for the last 60 years. It's insane.
You mean the criteria to get the certification and what's in it?
You have to be trained in a faculty of education to become a teacher. Why? They're the most woke element of the entire rotten university carcass. And they have the hammerlock on 50% of the state budgets. The conservatives are always complaining about the culture war. It's like, well, you handed all the young people to the faculties of education, right? Their research is terrible. It's low rate. Their students are generally very incompetent, comparatively speaking, on the academic front. It's foolish, and this is the outcome. It's not surprising.
And it's a way to work on the foundation. And when you have an RNC chair or a DNC chair, if you have an agenda, that's what to work on. Don't get Mr. and Mrs. Candidate elected. Start focusing on the direction you want the country in, and find out how to give people an education that will allow them to at the very least think, but not what to think.
Well, the left-wingers in the 1960s were far-seeing enough, the more radical types, to envision a decades-long march through the institutions, right? And one of their goals was the capture of educational institutions, and that's happened completely, and that's been...
And if you want to solve for a problem based off of what you think makes sense for the country, or you want to steer something in the direction that you want to go in, usually what you start with is the children. And the easiest way to be able to infiltrate how it is that you want society to go is to start with the ones that's easily moldable, the ones that's easily impressionable. You start to market yourself and you start to change the narrative. See, Jordan Peterson is absolutely right, which I don't think that I've ever seen Jordan Peterson have a wrong take, right? And if you have not read his book, 12 Rules for Life, then you need to do so. I have it. I've read it twice. Some of you may have to read it 3 times in order for you to really understand it, even if you only read the first chapter about the crab, right? What I've learned personally is that if I want to affect a group of people, then I have to affect the youngest versions of them, not the ones that's already set in their ways. When you're having a conversation with people, a lot of times, you're not even speaking to the majority, you're speaking to the minority. You're speaking to that 1 or 2 people that may need to hear your voice so that they can make that change because they're already looking for, or they've been praying for, somebody to give them some insight on how it is that they can change their life, right? And so what he's basically explaining is that the stronghold that the country had as far as being able to shape what our future is going to be came through our schools and through our children. So when we see these conversations happen at large, for example, let's just take the alphabet community. Let's take we saying talking about marriage, right? Who can marry who should use what pronoun, what bathroom you can use, who can play in what sport, what it is that we think masculinity is. It's okay for men to cry, not get the fuck up, and actually be able to participate and do what it is that we do. Women can do whatever they want. They can determine the course of the country. They vote in who our leaders are. They are the head of households now. When we start to have these conversations, and then people say, well, what do you care because it doesn't affect you? You have free choice. Well, if I want to infiltrate into your household in the same way that I can get you set up with a woman, all I got to do is infiltrate what it is that your kid is studying every day while you at work, and then they in school for the next 8 hours, and they have to be indoctrinated by the people that they influenced by from the friend group that they have, right? And so this has been a decades-long march towards trash that we now see the people that are the leaders of the country, running the country, determining the laws, being easily influenced, don't stand for nothing, and they have no moral compass by which they can lean back on because their foundation is corrupt. The children have been molded, and now they're the adults. They're the Generation Zs. They're the millennials. There are these people that are now determining the course of the country, and so right is wrong, wrong is right, which is why I say that the culture is trash, because it's the things that we celebrate the most.
Absolutely abetted by conservatives who tend to get lost in the details. And well, then you think now you have young people who are demoralized and directionless. Well, they're never taught anything about how to acquire a direction. You know, we did a study. I used this program I developed called Future Authoring. We did a study where we had 3 studies, actually, where we had university students sit down essentially for 90 minutes. Right. 90 minutes, this was it. And write out a goal, a series of goals for their life, right? Who could they be in 5 years across 7 important dimensions of their life? And where might they be that would be terrible if they didn't get their act together? We dropped their dropout rate 50% and raised their grade point average by 35%, 3 separate studies.
Wow.
So that's all you have to do if you want to motivate young people, is to teach them a bit of visionary discipline and encourage.
Now, why would we want to do that instead of continuing to push the agenda so that we can benefit off of whatever it is that we think is right or wrong? Listen, nobody actually wants to, I'm not going to say nobody. The overwhelming majority of people are not trying to actually help anybody. They're only trying to push an agenda because it makes them feel good. They don't even get anything out of it. When you see most of these people that's out here protesting every day, those are the worst kind of people because they're not even financially incentivized or motivated to do so. They're doing it because they actually believe that they're right. There's people that actually believe that it makes sense for a man to not go to work every day. There's people in the chat right now that will say that it's okay for a man to not have to work at least 40 hours. And y'all ain't even got to do nothing today. It ain't even like you got to go out there and do you got to build up the steel beams and you got to do construction. You got to lay concrete and you ain't even got to do, dog. You won't even get up to go to the meeting that you got to go to at 9 o'clock or fucking get to the Zoom call and you working from home in a call center. I hear a call on a fucking call. And I hear all kind of junk happening in the background. I hear Smash Brothers in the background during the pandemic and all of that. So when we start to see this and we start to see how things play out, this has been in the works for a long time. If you want to talk about systematic, then let's not talk about what it is that we see happening in the Black community. Let's start talking about what it is that we see happening culturally, because it's bigger than what it is that you see from a race perspective.
And we do the opposite of that. Plus, we terrify them. Trigger warnings. We tell them that everything's dangerous.
You talked about accommodation. So someone has ADD, they're told. Dyslexia or other things.
Yeah.
In the public school now, there's a lot of accommodations. I'm going to give you more time for your test.
Yeah.
Or things to that nature. I have trouble tracking across a line. Do you think accommodations in many cases don't show progress? Can be limiting? Why?
Well, the problem with the accommodation hypothesis is something like, the advantage is, well, you want to do what you can to help people who might have obstacles that could be overcome to learn. That's not unreasonable. But the problem with the accommodation hypothesis is, well, what happens when you have an actual problem to solve? You're not going to be accommodated. You're not going to be accommodated in a workforce that requires genuine competition.
So nobody cares. We're not here to coddle you. When you get out into the real world, it's not about whether or not they can accommodate you. So what you're basically teaching the kids is be handicapped, even if they don't even have a disability when they get into the real world. I'll give you an example. Nobody cares if you lose your home. It is going to be an opportunity for somebody else to be able to capitalize off of your loss because you weren't taught how to be able to recover, how to be able to endure, how to be able to leverage, and how really to be able to really, have the right habits in order to ensure that you don't lose your home. So then you then become the head of household, but nobody can actually substantiate who's the leader because you're feminine and you're looking for an accommodation, you're looking for a handout, you're not looking to be able to thrive and survive, and you don't even have the ability to do so because you weren't given the tools and you were raised by a woman.
Because if you're accommodated in a workforce that requires genuine competition, you're just going to be taken out. There's no time for that. Right. You might say, well, there should always be time. It's like, well, not if there are important things at stake. Yeah. Well, that's foolish, right? Because when you're making important decisions, you're always balancing one catastrophe against another. You don't have the option that everything's going to turn out. And so the problem with accommodation, well, first of all, it's going to be gamed, and it's being gamed like mad. Yep. And second, it gives the person who's being accommodated to the wrong picture of the world to which they're going to adapt. And think about this with parenthood. How should you treat your kids? Well, as a mother and father, you should be a proxy for the world. Maybe a slightly more merciful proxy. But basically, the message you send your kids about their behavior is the same message that the world is going to send them. It should be. Because otherwise you're not preparing them for the world.
Which is one of the reasons why I tell people that our job is not to be our kid's friend. Our job is to be their parent, right? I want my child to fail in a controlled environment. That way, when they actually get out there in the real world, they know how to handle it. They're prepared for it. They've been conditioned for it because it's a war out there. Let me say it again. I want my child to fail in a controlled environment. That way they don't have to experience the level of failure that they'll have to go through after they get from under my covering. One of the things that I talk to people about all the time, shout out to all of the new Patreon members. Let me get a round of applause for all of the new bag chasers and Patreon members. I've been getting a notification. I get the notifications all day, every day of the people that join the Patreon. Shout out to the bag chasers. I talk to guys all the time, right? And one of the things that I tell them, and a lot of people really don't like this part of what it is that I tell them, but I tell them anyway because my job is not to make you comfortable, it's to tell you the truth. I tell guys all the time, do not buy your son a car as a graduation gift. Don't give him a car to be able to get back and forth to work. Do not buy your child a car. Now, I know it's going to be a lot of softies, right? It's going to be a lot of people that say, oh my God, but I didn't have a car when I was growing up and I don't want them to go through what it is that I went through. Well, that's part of the reason why you self-reliant, you're not dependent on the federal government, why you go to work every day, why you take care of business, why you're in a position of power is because you've had those lessons that allow for you to be able to understand what suffering in order to get to the result look like. And so I tell people all the time, listen, first of all, you raise your daughter much different than you raise your son. Secondly, you do not buy your child or give them a bunch of stuff in order to do the thing that they're supposed to do anyway. Oh, you got good grades here, let me reward you as a result of it. No, that's your reasonable service. That's like me taking care of my kid. I don't get no accolade for that. It's my fucking kid. I'm supposed to take care of my kid. And so when we came up, my father, and he always told us, he said, listen, I'm not buying you a car, but I will help you get a job in order to be able to do so. I will enable you with the tools in order to go out, go get your resume together. I will point you in the right direction, but you are a fucking man now. And if you want to go and get a car, if you want to drive back and forth, if you need something in order to get you to and from, then you're going to have to earn that shit. He said, I gave you everything that you need in order to be able to survive, everything that you need in order to thrive. And when we got that car, it meant that much more to us because we had to work for it and we had to put our blood, sweat, and tears in it. And it wasn't just a car. It wasn't something that I was going to crash out. And then I had to pay for my own insurance. I had to get my own car. When something happened to it, I went and changed my own oil, changed my own. Man, I took that whole fucking 1986 Buick Regal apart and put that bitch right back together. My first car, 1986 Buick Regal. I was taking that car apart and putting everything back together. I love that car. I wash that car every single day because it meant something to me, because I had to go and sweat and put my own blood, sweat, and tears into it in order to acquire it. They not gonna die. Oh, but his job is, well, then fucking let him walk over to the fucking corner store or the McDonald's down the street in order for him to get. See, he not gonna make no money at 18. He ain't supposed to make no money. I see young guys that get coaching calls from me. Anton, I feel like I'm behind. I'm only 21, 22 years old. You're supposed to be poor. You're a college student. But the women don't like me being poor. Well, that means that you're vetting and getting rid of the people that's supposed to be in your circle anyway, so that you don't have any distractions and that you can then put yourself in a position to align yourself or be equally yoked with the woman that you're eventually supposed to be with. You're not supposed to be focusing on these hoes anyway. Focus on getting your bag. Make the sacrifice. Have a level of dick discipline. Fam, life is much better, exponentially better, when you do the right thing early before you get into a situation where you have to be reactive and then be retroactively trying to solve for a problem that you should have been doing when you was younger anyway. Right? You're supposed to be poor. You're supposed to suffer. You're supposed to go through shit. You're supposed to be having issues and problems. You're supposed to be hitting your head. You're supposed to be making mistakes early. You're supposed to be in a position where you're failing in a controlled environment. Stop giving your fucking child every single thing that they ask for, especially if he's a man, because you basically handicapping him and he's not going to be able to survive without you.
So maybe your kid's annoying as hell to you and your wife, and you don't do anything about it because you think, well, we're all mercy. It's like, that's just fine until your kid has to make a friend or, you know, deal with an adult that's not you.
Socially
in which case
awkward.
they're going to get slaughtered. There's nothing merciful about that. And if you accommodate people beyond what the environment itself would allow, you misinform them about the world they're going to inhabit. And plus, it can be gamed, and it's being gamed constantly.
Online school, you and your daughter working together.
Yeah.
What should we know and how do we get it?
Well, we've got about 30 courses.
All right, that's enough. I'm going to read Super Chat shortly. But the point of this whole video and what he's trying to say is the world will have no mercy on your child, especially if he's a man. They will have no mercy, and you will not always be able to be there. You will not always be able to be there for them, because eventually what you want to do is put them in a position to where they can thrive and become better than you. And you can't do that by just throwing money at them and giving them everything. You have to teach them the lessons of what it takes in order to be a man. And see, I seen this dude named Clark in the chat, and he's so coddled and so weak. He's probably the head of diversity and inclusion at some organization that probably laid him off, so that's why he had to move back into his mother's basement. The point of the matter is this. Look, you cannot, and I know it hurts you and it pains you for them to have to actually work for something, and for them to have to get off their ass and stop playing video games, and for them to have to earn something. By the time that I was 19 years old, I had already bought 2 cars. I still have my 86, and then I went and bought a Mercury Sable. Yeah, see, it was a 2001 Mercury Sable I was cool. It was mine. It was mine. I was willing to work 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. I didn't get to where I am today because I was just chilling and I fucking got lucky. I don't know any rich people that got lucky. I know everybody that actually worked their ass off. And all of these people that's walking around coddled, feeling some type of way, listen, man, you're going to have to get off your ass. You're going to have to stop celebrating everybody and start holding them accountable, because everybody don't deserve a participation trophy. Let me read these super chats, and then I want to get over into the net worth conversation. Shout out to P. Rothstein. P. Rothstein says downtown Detroit on a Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night is absolutely ridiculous. The women look amazing, and it's a vibe. Shout out to my dog P. Rothstein in the building, understanding the assignment. My dog Executive Suite MLE is in the building, says, so we are supposed to take people serious named Jupiter and atmosphere lightning. Can you imagine a meeting with world leaders and Jupiter reps the U.S.? Yep, I think it's coming. I think sooner rather than later, we'll have a woman president too. Sooner rather than later, we will have a female president, and it is going to be the end of us. The day that we get a female president is the day that I actually consider moving out of the country. The day that we get a female president is the day that I actually seriously start to consider moving out of the country, and that's all facts. Prince Elian says, hello, Mr. Daniels. Step 1, liberal politicians let cities burn. Step 2, they wait for residents to beg for martial law. Step 3, government becomes dictatorship. Step 4, destruction of freedom completed. Interesting. I'll have to take that into consideration. Prince Elian also says, there's Pride Month in June, LGBTQ History Month in October, and now they're talking about Transgender Month in August. What the hell? I am speechless. I'm not. I told y'all that this was going to be coming a long time ago. Shout out to fucking Persevere Data TV. My father bought me a D-Dot bus pass when I graduated high school. I hated it, but it created a hustler spirit, and I made sure every time I left the house, it counted. Years later, I saved up for my first truck cash. Cash, man. My parents didn't even give me the D-Dot. My parents gave me, let me tell you something. All through high school, from 9th grade, 14 through 18 years old, I had to catch the bus all the way to downtown, right? I had to walk over a mile over to 7 Mile, from 8 Mile to 7 Mile, catch the Hamilton bus, caught it all the way downtown, and I had to figure out how to get home. They gave me a set amount of money. I think that they gave me whatever it was enough for me to catch the bus to and from back 5 days a week, right? And I had to manage that shit effectively. So if I wanted any other money, I had to A, either go and get a job, which I wound up doing, or B, I had to figure out how to manage that more effectively and hustle that shit up. But I had a set amount and I had to manage it. They did not check to see whether or not I went to school. They did not check to see whether or not whatever, right? And so, you had to hustle. You had to figure that shit out. And you can't overspend. I couldn't go back to my parents and say, hey, I ran out of money and did this. That shit wasn't flying. They'd be like, figure it out. Figure it out. So I get it, bro. It was just a different time. We had to figure that shit out. Cliff Williams says, bro, I'm a bag chaser. And my son is going to be a bag getter. He can buy whatever car he needs with his own money. I'll be right there to guide him straight. Shout out to my dog, Cliff Williams, in the building. I appreciate you, big dog. X-Bionic says, I definitely agree, Uncle Anton. Young men have to endure till the end for what they want. Everybody is soft now. Everybody is looking to be coddled. Everybody is looking to be validated. Joshua Mean says, thank you for covering the less popular topics. Consistently, black people idolize too much, which is why they suffer from stage mentality. Shout out to Joshua Means. I appreciate you for holding me down, big dog. Let me read one more super chat from What the Hell. Says, catching that Greenfield bus was the truth. A lot of my Detroit players know what's happening out here in these streets. Make sure y'all hit a like for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. I appreciate you guys all for the super chats. Let me get into the last thing that I want to talk about, and then I'm going to let you guys go because we got to do a live stream tonight on the Anton Daniels channel. Again, make sure you tap into the Patreon. Also, get that Teach Hanley 30% off your first order plus a free gift. Big Suggs, I'm going to read that shortly, right after I tap into this next conversation. What is lower, middle, and upper class to you guys? I always try to leave you guys with some form of insight. And then I put my spin and I give my perspective of how you guys need to start looking at money a little bit differently, because let's be clear, it always comes back to the money and it always gets there from the hustle. It always comes back to the money and it always gets there from the hustle. What do you consider lower, middle, and upper class? Let's deep dive into it. I got a video that I want to share with you guys, and then hopefully I can add some insight into your life. Hit a like for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications.
When I think of the upper class, I think of somebody that belongs to a country club. Perhaps they drive a luxury car, they go on these crazy ski vacations, or maybe they just have 5 therapists. But the truth is that with net worth, you actually don't need as much net worth as you think you might need to become what's called upper class. In today's video, we're gonna break down all the classes and their net worth and characteristics based on US Census data and a couple of research studies. So
now, the interesting thing about this conversation, though, is that when you talk to most people, they're not having a conversation based off of net worth. Net worth, as much as it's a phrase that should be familiar and seared into our brains, is something that we're deprogrammed from actually taking into consideration when we're talking about money, right? I had a guy one time that said, Anton, he may have a lot of stuff that may accumulate up to over $1 million. So he may be a millionaire that way, but I'm pretty sure he ain't no cash millionaire. The fuck is this? Cash Money Records? Do I look like fucking Birdman and Slim to you? What happened to that boy? What happened? Do I look like fucking Birdman to you? Do I look like the type of nigga that be walking around with a money phone on his ear? Dumb shit. Ignorant shit. Which basically told more about what it is that he is and where he's at in life and his understanding of financial resources more than it said about me. Neither here nor there. Most people are not having the conversations about net worth. They only have a conversation about how much money you can blow, how much cash you got, how much you're financing, what type of house you're living in. They don't talk about the difference between the equity that you have in a house, which is the amount that the house is worth versus how much you owe on it, right? That difference is calculated into your net worth. The credit card debt that you have, the student loans that you have. It doesn't matter if you make $180,000 a year, if you got $200,000 in student loans and the majority of what you're paying going to interest, right? Because that means that you're sitting at a deficit and your net worth is negative versus the amount of money that you make. It's not about how much money you make, it's about how much money you keep. Most people that are millionaires in the United States of America, they are not millionaires based off of how much cash they have. They're millionaires based off of how much money that they have in assets, their homes, right? Their home may be paid for, so that may be an asset because it appreciates, but then they have to pay the property taxes on it, which is one of the reasons why people like a David Porter have to sell his home because he does not make enough money now that the writers and the actors are striking because he can't sustain his lifestyle. And if he doesn't hurry up and sell his home, he's going to become even worse off and his net worth is going to plummet because he can't maintain his lifestyle. So there's a lot of moving parts that go into this conversation that they don't want you to know about.
The US Census actually gives us data on the quintiles of net worth. So what that basically means is quintiles are separated into every 20% of the population. So we have data on the bottom 20%, the 20th to 40th percentiles, the 40th to 60th percentiles, and so on. Let's start with the lowest 20%. So the median net worth in this category is $6,030 as of the most recent data in 2020, and that would put you in the poverty class. Now, $6,030 in net worth doesn't mean that you just have $6,030 in your checking account. Now,
let's break that number down really quickly. Let's really think about that and break that down really quickly because he's talking about the lower class. The lowest 20% of people have a median net worth of $6,000. And that's the overwhelming majority of people. It's a larger group. And the higher, think of it like a pyramid. The higher you go, the less that's in that group. And the bottom half of people don't have $1,000 to their name if they had an emergency. They have a median net worth. Now remember, it's going to be a whole bunch of people at the bottom, a bunch of people in the middle, and the people at the top of what that is of the lowest 20% of people. Average median net worth. Net worth meaning how much money that you have, positive versus the negative. The assets versus the liabilities, and what does that look like at the end of the day? You may have $100,000 in cash, and then you might have $94,000 in debt. That means that your median net worth is $6,000. Let's continue.
In net worth doesn't mean that you just have $6,030 in your checking account. Net worth is actually the calculation of your total assets, so everything that you own minus everything that you owe or your total liabilities. So for example, if you had $10,000 in your checking account, perhaps $40,000 in your retirement accounts, and you owned a house that was worth $500,000, your total assets in this case would be $550,000.
But owning the house worth $500,000 would mean that you don't have a mortgage on it, meaning that you own it free and clear, because then you'd have to add a different total to that, right? So if you own a house, or if you buying a house, or you have a mortgage on a house, or you did a HELOC, or you did a refinance, right? And that house is worth $500,000, but you only have $200,000 equity into it because you owe $300,000 on that house, then that means that your net worth would actually be $250,000. You get it now? So it's your assets minus your liabilities. That is what your net worth is. That's how people that have money calculate whether or not you're a millionaire. It's not about how much money you have in a bank. It's not about how much money you make on your job. It's about how much money you have in assets. Okay?
Assume you have two big liabilities, so you owe $300K on your mortgage as well as $100K in student loans. That means your total liabilities in this case are $400,000. So your total net worth in this case would be $550K in assets minus $400K in liabilities, so your total net worth is $150K. Net worth is a pretty good indicator of wealth in my opinion, because while you can have a large income, if you do spend a lot of that income, then you really don't have anything to show for it.
Which is the problem with most people within our culture, is that we're a consumer culture, we're a debtor nation, we're a debtor culture. And so, we finance everything. And in my opinion, I think that the biggest travesty about this is because it's not that people ain't getting to the bag. It's a lot of people making a lot of money. But most people have no understanding of how money works. They know how to acquire it. They don't know how to keep it. They don't know how to prevent themselves from having to give it over to the government. They finance their life away. They go and get a whole bunch of mortgages. They think that they can cash flow real estate. In reality, they one disaster away from losing every fucking thing, or they can't get no more tenants in there, or they bought it in a place and Airbnb-ing it out. Now that area is not fucking thriving anymore. Our ability to be able to hold on to wealth is going to be a part of our demise.
So in a way, net worth kind of accounts for spending behavior as well as discipline and financial habits, and I think it's a really good indicator of how wealthy somebody is. Now back to the lowest quintile here, the characteristics of this bucket in particular is that the average household income is between $25,000 to $27,000 per year. The census defines the poverty line in 2022 at $35,801 per year.
So for all of these people that keep telling me that you can raise a family on $40,000 a year, that means that you're just above the poverty line, and I'm not sure how you're doing it. Let's go ahead and move over into middle class, because that's the thing that we really want to talk about, the lower middle class, all right?
160. This is the beginning of the middle class, and this cohort is sometimes known.
Hold on, let me rewind that a little bit.
Their median net worth is $43,760.
So that's including everything that you have inside of your retirement, everything that you have in your 401k, everything that you have in your brokerage account, your savings account, your cars, your home that you in, so on and so forth.
The beginning of the middle class, and this cohort is sometimes known as what's called the lower middle class. The average income of a household in the lower middle class is right at $48,500 per year.
So remember, this is the average household income. This is not the total income. This is the average household income. Median net worth, $43,000 a year. Average median income of the household is $48,000.
And that's going to be slightly lower than the US median income of $70,784 per year. The lower middle class is typically made up of new graduates, blue-collar workers, such as factory workers and farmers, as well as newer immigrants that are still trying to find a footing in this new country. In terms of defining characteristics for the middle class, there are 6 signs that you might be in the middle class by the Middle Class Task Force, which is a government initiative founded in 2009. They define the middle class as having 6 financial aspirations. So number 1 would be home ownership.
I've never seen this, so I'm learning about what it is that the government has classified as middle class. So we're gonna learn about this today.
Number 2 is owning a car, college education, retirement security, healthcare coverage, and number 6 is the ability to take a family vacation.
So they define you as middle class, because a lot of people like to use these terms. They define you as middle class is by you actually having a mortgage, a fucking crib. B, having a car. C, 6. These are the 6 characteristics of the middle class, as defined by the government Middle Class Task Force in 2009. C, being a graduate. You notice how they got a black woman over there? Now, they didn't say what kind of degree that you have to have or how much debt that you get as a result of it, but you are solidly middle class if you can get a degree. A retirement account, meaning that, pension, 401k, don't matter if you work there for 30 years like the Yellow Corporation and they take that shit away. Healthcare coverage, which means that you're not on an Affordable Care Act, or you're not dependent on Medicare, Medicaid in order to be able to survive. And what was the last one?
Number 6 is the ability.
And be able to take a vacation every once in a while. Don't go over to Dubai cussing people out. You're going to get detained over there, all right?
Ability to take a family vacation. So I find this really fascinating, which is the family vacation for the middle class has become a staple. It's the true embodiment of the fact that the middle class no longer are just focused on covering their necessities. It shows that the middle class is starting to have more discretionary income under their belt, and they're choosing how to spend that money. So it's also here where people are starting to make decisions around spending based on their wants and not necessarily just their needs. This is also where stereotypes come in. Maybe you know somebody that's spending a ton of money on their transportation, like their car payment, perhaps their shopping habit, or maybe they just go and buy those squashmallow type thingies all the time. You know that these people make a decent income, but it's nothing lavish and they're spending a lot of it. This could be a sign that they are in the lower middle class. So really enjoy the
Okay, I'm going to fast forward it. I want to go to the solidly middle class.
newsletter straight to your inbox. The next quintile is what I just like to call the straight up middle class. You are literally smack dab in the middle of the entire distribution of the population. The median net worth to be in this class is $104,700.
I would say that most people do not have a median net worth of $100,000. I would say that most people do not have a median net worth of $100,000. Most people can't even come up with $1,000 in an emergency. Most people are in debt. Most people have credit card debt. Most people have student loan debt. That goes against what your net worth is. I do not believe that most people are solidly middle class. And we haven't even gotten to upper class yet.
Dollars, and the income of someone in the straight up middle class is very close to the US median household income of $70,000 to $71,000 a year. Usually this
average median household income is $70,000 to $71,000 a year.
Class is a mix of specialized blue-collar workers, or they're in the beginning stages of a white-collar job. They might have jobs like being a nurse, truck drivers, massage therapists, office managers, and sales reps, so on and so forth. Now, 100K in net worth or more is nothing to sniff at, and a large reason as to why these people have over $100,000 in net worth is either that they've become really good at saving a portion of their income and investing.
And they have a significant equity into their homes.
It, or sometimes it's just due to the fact that they are older. Most of the people that get to this level are already in their late 30s to early 40s by the
Now look at this. Under 35, the median wealth by household characteristics in 2020. Under 35 on average is about $22,000. 35 to 44 is $97,000. 45 to 54 is $166,000. Now, think about this for a second. If you have a net worth of $166,000 at 54 years of age, that means you have a little bit over 10 years to be able to acquire or accumulate enough wealth to be able to sustain you for the rest of your life. On average, they say that you need at least $2 million, at least by today's standards. Now, 10, 20 years from now, you may need significantly more than that, because inflation is going to continue to bring the number up because the cost of living goes up over time, right? And so if you don't have $2.5, $3 million in net worth in which you're not primarily drawing the majority of your money from your principal, you're going to be shit out of luck
the time they cross the $100,000 mark. So if you happen to be someone that is younger and you're making a really great income of over $70,000 a year, and you're wondering, man, why am I not at $100,000 in net worth? Well, sometimes the answer is just you haven't been in the game long enough. What is really cool here is that if you have a
and your spending habits,
modest income of say $70,000 or $75,000 a year, that would typically put you in the straight up middle class, but you can actually become a lot wealthier than that if you just have a long enough time horizon and you invest regularly.
So let's go into upper class. We're going to skip around a little bit. All right.
65, you're going to have a net worth of over $335,000 by the time you're 65.
Oh, let me back that
which
up.
will actually put you well into the upper. Same example, it shows that if you're able to be smart with your money, you can still amass quite a large fortune. Even if you're able to just save $100 a month from the time that you're age 25 to.
Now, listen, if you're able to save $100 a month, now we know that most people is not even stacking $100 a month, let alone investing $100 a month. But let's continue.
65, you're going to have a net worth of over $335,000 by the time you're 65, which will.
All you got to do is save $100 a month and then get an 8% interest rate, which is nothing to sneeze at. That's very difficult to do. And then as your money compound over a period of time, your net worth should be at over $335,000. Most people don't start early enough. A lot of people feel like they got to live and they got to do what they want to do. I want to take vacations. I'm going to go into debt. And then they start to try to figure it out by the time that they're 40.
Will actually put you well into the upper middle class. Now, speaking of the upper middle class, the median net worth of this class is $201,800. This
median net worth of the upper middle class. Now, notice how they didn't say poor, just above poor, average, just slightly above average. They said lower middle class, upper middle class. Median net worth, $200,000.
Net worth will put you in the top 40% of households in America, and the income at this level is typically between $100,000 to $150,000 in household income per year. The data even suggests that even if you don't make between $100,000 to $150,000 per year, that you can still become what's considered upper middle class, especially by the time you're the age of 55, where the median net worth of someone at the age of 55 is $230,900. However,
now let me look at upper class. This is the thing that I want to see now.
And that's just because of wealth creation.
So if you're in the top quintile or the top 20% of the United States.
Now, these are the people that are in the top 20% of everybody. So if you are in the upper class, you are now in the top 20% of everybody, okay?
United States, the median net worth here is $608,900.
How many people have a net worth that's above $600,000? You are in the top 20% of people in the United States of America and the world, and in the world you're actually a little bit higher. But you are in the top 20% of people in the United States of America if you have a net worth above $600,000. That means that you are technically upper class. Now, in my opinion, upper class having a net worth is nothing to sneeze at of over $500,000. However, it's not enough. It's not enough. For the bag chasers, shout out to my Patreon members, it's not enough. And the reason that it's not enough is because you don't just want to be able to survive for the rest of your life. You want to thrive. And in order to thrive, you need assets throwing off money that also support your lifestyle while continuing to increase your net worth. You don't want to just have enough money to be able to survive for the rest of your life and hope that you don't run out of money. You want to have the type of money that generate revenue and actually support your lifestyle while also increasing your net worth, and it's throwing off that type of revenue, all right?
If you have that net worth, then you are considered upper class. Now, the median household income of this group some 7 years ago was $187,000.
Now, that was 7 years ago.
According to a Pew Research study, but adjusted for inflation these days, that number is probably closer to $237,000.
From 180 to 237 within a 7-year time frame, and that's adjusting for inflation.
$1,000 a year. According to that same study, a large share of upper class individuals, they usually live on the East Coast. For example, places like Boston, New York.
What? They not on the West Coast?
There's a lot of financial and tech around, as well as the West Coast. Work in tech, and all the salaries in tech are quite high. But the upper class can also include some non-tech workers, so there are plenty of high-paying jobs that aren't in tech. For example, if you're a cardiologist, a psychiatrist, a dentist, maybe you're a senior level in the finance field by asset type in 2020. All
right, composition of wealth asset types in 2020 says retirement accounts account for more than a third at 36.2%. Equity in your home. So now you already at literally 2/3 of what it is that everything is accounted for, right? 36%, 0.2, you carry over to 0.8, that's down there at the bottom, let's just say 37%. Then you throw in the 7 from the 27, right? That's 44, and then you add the 2, that's 64. So you almost at 66%. The majority of people's wealth is largely built into A, the equity in their home, and then B, their retirement accounts. It has nothing to do with cash. Let me say it one more time. At 64%, based off of this U.S. Census Bureau 2021 survey of income and program participation, they're saying that 64%, which is almost 2/3, 64% of your net worth is based off of what it is that you have in your retirement account and the equity that you have in your home. Another 11%. That puts you at 75%. Now you're talking about 3/4 is the stocks and the mutual funds, asset at financial institutions, assets and other holdings, rental properties, business assets, other real estate. I don't see nothing in there that say cash. I don't see nothing in there that say cash, right? Then you got vehicles, which we all know that that's a depreciating asset. Bonds, student loans at that point is kicking your ass. Credit card and store bills, medical debts, and other unsecured debts then take away from your net worth. But basically, what this is saying, and the reason why I wanted to illustrate this for you guys, and I always try to leave you guys with something positive that hopefully help you look at money a little bit differently, is because your net worth is not going to be based off of how much you have on a money phone or the type of clothes that you buy or how it is that other people view you. It's not going to be based off of your computer equipment or whether or not you got the latest iPhone. I know they got an event coming up. Lamborghini is coming out with a new event 2 days from now. It's not based off of any of that. Your success is largely going to be determined by how much value that you have within these institutions. Your retirement account, which compound and it grows over time, which is one of the reasons why it accumulated over 33% or a third of all of your monies, right? How much equity that you have in your home, but most people don't understand that the true cost of home ownership is much more expensive than what it is that we're calculating it to be, or the mortgage that we pay. The stocks you own, the brokerage account, including the cash that you have, and then other assets that hopefully has appreciated over time. The goal for you is to acquire the assets and then be able to keep the revenue instead of giving the revenue over into the finance company, the credit card company, the mortgage company more than you have to, student loans, and all of this other shit, right? I was riding in a car yesterday, and one of the things that I was saying, and I'm going to read the super chat shortly. One of the things that I was saying, and I was having a conversation with my daughter. We was in a cab on the way back to the hotel. And she was telling me how much she loved Taekwondo and all of this stuff. And we was talking about college. And she said, Dad, do I got to go to college? I said, absolutely. She said, what if I just wanted to do Taekwondo? So she's throwing out all of these hypotheticals. I said, well, then you just going to have to learn how to do both, right? I said, but the good thing about it is that you'll never know what it feels like to have to fill out a FAFSA. She said, what's a FAFSA? She said, what is a FAFSA? She didn't even know how to pronounce it. That's the thing that they gave to all of the students when we was graduating in school. And I went to one of the top schools in Detroit. They was talking about, you know, when you're going to apply to college, when you're going to do your FAFSA, do you got to get your parents to sign it? I don't know if you're going to be able to qualify because your parents make slightly too much money, but they don't have enough money to be able to pay for you to go to college. My daughter will never know what it feels like to have to fill out a fucking FAFSA. She will never know. Can she get a grant? Can she get scholarships? Absolutely. But she will never know what it feels like to have to fill out a fucking FAFSA. Those are our goals. Those are the things that we ultimately want to work towards. Fuck the money phone. Fuck the cars. All of that stuff is extra. You don't start spending money until you secure your family. You don't start spending money until you start to build assets. You don't start spending money. And that's why I keep telling y'all, and I live my life like an open book. I've done it. I've actually grinded for it. I've put myself in a position to where we now can fly all across the motherfucking globe and spend $30,000 on plane tickets because our futures are secure, right? When we join in the Patreon and I'm breaking down all of the money that I'm spending, even now I'm still building rental properties from the ground up. We don't take any financing. We don't go through the banks. We don't do none of that shit, right? When I'm breaking this stuff down inside of the Patreon, what I'm trying to get you to do is not only understand the game, but also change your mindset of what you think money looks like, what you think wealth is supposed to be, what our cultural norms are, right? It's not about the watch that you wear, unless it's a watch that appreciates over time and it holds its value, right? It's not about the car that you drive, unless you've secured enough wealth to where your assets then can pay for your lifestyle. It's not about any of that shit. It's about not being beholden to what other people think about you, A, and also being beholden to what the federal government is saying that you have to do in order to qualify to even be there in the first place. You qualify because I've done the work and I've put in the work in order for you to be able to do so. That's why you qualify. You're not going to have to make a determination of whether or not you want to go to college based off of whether it's affordable or not. You're going to be there and you're going to do what the fuck I told you to do. And you're going to pick a specific program that I want you to go into because this is what the requirements are based off of the hard work that I put into it. You owe me. You owe me. You owe me success. You owe me your grind. You owe me your hustle. Your minimum expectation is the standards that we set in this household, and that's been passed on from generation to generation. And we only go up in our standards. We don't lower our standards based off of what society is doing. That's generational wealth. When you can, every generation, up the standard because you know that the gap between those that have and those that don't is going to just widen. When you up in the standard instead of lowering the standard based off of what society standards are, that's what you know what generational wealth is going to be. Because when you have a different mindset, money is always going to be plentiful. Money is always easy to get. You'll always be able to get that bag. But if you don't have the mindset and you don't instill the discipline, because kids and the people that follow you and the people that's looking at you, they paying attention to what you do, not necessarily what you say or what you say that you're going to display. None of that shit mean anything. The only thing that matters is what you implement and then what it is that you pass down. Because if you motherfuckers is going to do a fish fry after your mama or your papa die, then that's a problem. Let me read some of the super chats and then I'm going to get y'all out of here. We got a live stream to do tonight on the Anton Daniels channel. I don't give a fuck where I'm at in the world. We still going to get this work. You still going to get this work. That's a fact. Let's see what we got going on here. All right. Big Suggs is in the building. I appreciate you, Big Suggs. Anton, we appreciate your dedication and commitment to providing us with continued valued bag chasers for life. Shout out to all of the new bag chasers. And my legends like Big Suggs that's been here with me since the beginning. I appreciate you. LLC says most countries in the world have already had female presidents and prime ministers, including Islamic countries like Pakistan. The U.S. is late. It's not a race to the bottom. Most of them women quit. Most of them women, the prime minister of what is that country? She just literally resigned because she couldn't handle the job. That ain't no badge of honor. Listen. When we start talking about our cultural norms and we start talking about what's going on in the U.S. versus other countries, there are some things that we can adopt from other cultures that's good, and there's some stuff that we need to leave at the doorstep. Just because they are good in one area does not mean that we need to adopt that in other areas. I do not think that women should have high levels in positions to where they are not suited for and they are not ordained to be in. That is not a flex for me. To me, that is not a fucking flex at all. I would have not wanted fucking Kamala Harris at the front of the congregation holding the nuke codes. She over there advocating in Ghana for the alphabet community and they don't even want that shit. Shout out to Edmund850. Edmund850 says female leaders aren't necessarily bad. Margaret Thatcher and Elizabeth L in many ways put some of today's male leaders to shame. I appreciate the super chat for that. Reckless De Dinero says, damn, I'm solidly middle class, getting ready to hit upper middle class. Being a bag chaser has accelerated the process. Here's the thing, though, Reckless Ray Dinero. Here's the thing, though. I don't want you to define yourself by whatever the government says that you are. We have our own standards and we have our own levels. And so for us, the minimum that I'm requiring you guys to make, and this is why I'm pushing you guys so hard, because you need a bigger shovel, is $250,000. I want everybody shooting for $250,000 a year. We're not going based off of what the average household income is. We're not going based off of the median. We're not going based off all of that shit. The minimum that I'm pushing my people to make is $250,000 because there's some things that we need to accomplish, and you don't really get to the point to where you can start making some moves until you're bringing in around $20,000 to $25,000 a month. All right? Then you can start doing some shit. Joshua Means is in the building. Shout out to Joshua Means. Says, are you still taking coaching calls? I have a list. Email me at antondaniels413@gmail.com or send me a message inside of the Patreon and I'll put you on a list. Brian Smith says, shout out to George Cohen. Y'all know about Mr. Cohen? Hashtag Cast Tech. Shout out to my people out there and my technicians. And shout out to Miss Gatlin too. Y'all know about Miss Gatlin. Brock is in the building with the Past Love offering. I appreciate you, Brock. Glock. Got me talking about DC and Chicago so much. I keep talking about switches. Got me calling you Glock. Shout out to my dog Brock. I appreciate you. Thank you for holding me down, my friends. Listen, I love you guys. I appreciate you. Thank you for continuing to tune into the Millionaire Morning Show. You know what we do. You know we get it in. It is literally 2 in the morning here. It is 2 in the morning here on the Millionaire Morning Show. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm about to get some rest. I'm out of here. I need y'all to do me one more favor before we get up out of here, though. Make sure you share this with your family and friends. We don't want to be successful by ourselves. I love you guys. I appreciate you. Again, thank you for tuning in. If you have not already, make sure you hit a like for the YouTube algorithm on your way out the door. And then also on top of that, make sure that you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. I love you guys. I'm going to holler at you later. Peace.